If you've ever wondered what makes industrial motion feel seamless, this conversation is for you, Bitu. How did you get that name? Nah, we're not going to start there.
Not today, maybe another time.
Vector Companies brings together gear, shaft, and custom component manufacturing across multiple brands. For customers, what's the biggest payoff of that structure? Faster lead times, fewer handoffs, single source accountability? Sure. How do you deliver on a promise in real life?
I have not looked back since then, and I tell you what, it's been probably one of the best career moves I ever made.
Today's episode is brought to you by MTDCNC, the go-to platform covering the latest stories in the world of manufacturing.
On today's show, we're stepping into the engine room of global industrial motion. Meet my friend B2, also Vector Companies, a collective of manufacturing brands that transform raw metal into critical gears, shafts, custom components, and more. Whether it's low-volume prototypes or high-volume production lines, Vector Companies has built a reputation for dependability, adaptability, and craft. Today, we'll not only talk about parts, but the human effort, the logistics puzzle, the supply chain gymnastics, and the manufacturing mindset that powers everything. If you've ever wondered what makes industrial motion feel seamless, this conversation is for you, Bitu. How did you get that name? Nah, we're not going to start there.
Not today, maybe another time.
Not today, another. How did you get in the industry? Tell me about that.
Well, I started out years ago in purchasing and supply chain, buying gears and shafts. And about 8 years ago, Tony, just by coincidence, ran into an opportunity to start working for a company that makes gears. And that was about 8 years ago. I have not looked back since then. And I tell you what, it's been probably one of the best career moves I ever made.
And they immediately threw you right under the bus. Is this your first podcast?
This is my first podcast.
Thank you for being a victim on the show.
Hey, I love it. I'm looking forward to the next 20 minutes.
So 8 years of this now.
Yes.
What did you do before that you said was a great move that got you into where you are now?
I was on the other side. So I was working in companies that actually bought gears and shafts from manufacturers like the Vector Companies. And I was very familiar with the commodity itself. And I had an opportunity to flip careers and really go from buying to being on the other side that's actually manufacturing and selling. It was kind of a little lucky move, coincidence, because I was looking for the next opportunity that I wanted to do from a career standpoint. And I had a chance to do this. And like I said, it's been a fantastic 8 years doing this.
Let's talk about the 8-year journey. We're going to get into products and flexibility and the story of Vector a little bit more in a minute. But this 8 years, you said it was a great career move. Why so? What do you like about it?
It really expands your horizon. You know, most companies that you work in, Tony, you are pigeonholed in doing one thing.
Yeah,
the beauty
facts.
of this company and this industry and what we're in is every day's a different day. You know, on a Monday, I could be doing sales. Tuesday, I could be doing operations. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, you're doing something completely different. So I would say there's not one day that you're bored and then you're doing repetitive type of work.
Yeah, I like that a lot too.
Oh, it's fantastic. Keeps every day a new day.
Yeah, getting pigeoned into a corner, that's not my style. It doesn't sound like your style either.
No, it's not. No, it's not. Not at all.
So I'm going to get into some of these questions we have here specifically for you. I know you're excited to be here as well. Wait, I made that part up. Are you excited to be here?
I'm very excited to be here.
I made that part up, just hoping. I kept my fingers crossed.
But I only found out about 20 minutes ago that I was going to be here.
Stop
so I'm still
it. Where's your marketing team? I got to yell at those guys. 20 minutes ago?
I'm telling you.
Well, to be fair, I think when we don't think about something for 3-4 weeks or 3-4 days ahead of time, we actually do better on the nerves.
Hey, I understand. It's no different than watching a football game and having a drink over it, right? There you go.
Well, I do have some drinks. Should we get some drinks as well? You don't have any nerves.
In about 15 minutes when we're done.
All right, let's slide into one of these questions, Bito. Identifying the one-stop manufacturing advantage. Vector Companies brings together gear, shaft, and custom component manufacturing across multiple brands. For customers, what's the biggest payoff of that structure? Faster lead times, fewer handoffs, single source accountability. Sure. How do you deliver on a promise in real life?
So let's use as what you asked me, what was I doing 8 years before I started doing this? Well, being on the purchasing side, you're always looking for these manufacturers that can really do more than one thing for you. Well, you know, in the purchasing world, you may talk to Tony that does shafts, then may talk to somebody else that does gears or sprockets. What we bring is an opportunity to be a one-stop shop. So between the facilities that we've got different capabilities in the facilities. We can do the different product from a size standpoint, but more importantly, in the industry that we're in today, volume is becoming a big thing. Some companies are very good at doing the low volume. Some companies are good at doing the medium-sized volume. And some companies are very, very good at doing it production volumes. We at Vector Companies can support all those requirements as we go forward. And that's the intent that we want to be moving forward there.
No kidding.
Yeah,
That's pretty wide range.
it is very wide range. Yes.
You know, I think being vertically integrated and be able to support a client, we hear these stories all the time, B2. If we're being honest, I don't, and I think back to my machinist days, and I had to talk to my software guy, my machine guy, my coolant person, my cutting tool person, all of these things. And that might not directly correlate to what we're describing with your company, but anytime we can get an answer from one database, from one source, from one solution, that's what we want. I don't want the headaches of talking to 25 people to get 25 different answers.
We want to be that solution to that customer. Let us do the work for you rather than you having to go chase down 4 or 5 different companies to get you what you need. We, with the companies that we have, the portfolio that we have today, the portfolio of companies that we're going to expand to, we're only going to get better at providing that customer service. So we are finding the solution for our customers rather than the other way around.
Yeah, you know, we talked about this recently on another podcast as well, B2, when it comes to the overall, and I hope we're focused to make this better. What I'm about to say, I really don't want to just slam on anyone, but the overall knowledge base has lessened as generations have moved out of manufacturing, and we almost demonized the trades and STEM as a whole and said you must go to university in order to succeed, right? So to have someone like you that can come in and say, we are the experts and we can help you, and all of these different facets, I think that's extremely beneficial for any company out there. And you already said small, medium, and large production size. For any company out there that's looking for almost like consulting to go along with products and the expertise to go with it.
Absolutely. You know, just to carry on that story, I was having a conversation with somebody the other day. I go, 25 years ago, we really started pushing the college theme with the young generation. Well, what we did is we created a huge gap in the trade world. And Tony, I hate to say it, I don't see that getting any better anytime soon. And for us, having the capabilities combined, that's where we are going to bring value out there.
Yeah, well, I'm going to start a university for machining and trades, and we're gonna make it come back.
I tell you what, Tony, that sounds like a great business idea. I'll tell you.
I said it out loud. It's going to happen now. If I say it out loud, we're going to manifest it. Let's move on to balancing volume and customization. Is that all right? All right, so your portfolio covers everything from high volume standard parts to bespoke custom components. How do you maintain high throughput while still being able to be nimble enough for one-off or low volume demands? What's the trade-off and how do you manage it?
So the first thing we do is when we are contacted by a customer, we look at the 3 facilities that are under the Vector companies, and very soon there's going to be a 4th one here that's going to get announced this afternoon. And then we decide, based on that, which facility is the best fit for that program. So right out of the gate, before we even start spending any time on quoting, manufacturing, first question we ask is it the location in Michigan? Is it the location in Iowa? Is it bringing it in from overseas? We decide what is the best fit for that customer so we can provide them the best turnaround from a lead time standpoint and also the best costing proposal that we can put in front of them.
Is that a difficult task, B2? I mean, I think if you have the right software, the right people, I think it's probably second nature, right? At this point, you guys are experts at doing it. But to me, as a buyer, I want that expert. I mean, the fact that you already said, okay, is it closer to you? Can I get it to you quicker? Where does it come from? What's the cost going to be? All of these analytics that come into play to make sure you're taking care of people, that's important to understand.
It is very much important to understand, and we really don't let technology drive that decision. That's team decisions between the different facilities that we have. So it's not done in a silo. We all sit down, every facility looks at together, and we decide where that part makes the most sense. A lot of things will come into play. Who's busy, who's not, who's got the right machines, who doesn't have the right machines there. So that could be a 5-minute conversation, Tony. That could be a 30-minute conversation, depending on the complexity of the program that we're looking at.
I try my best to practice yoga. And don't worry, I'm going to get to the point in just a minute. I think yoga makes me a little bit more flexible, but it sounds like as a company, you may not be actually practicing yoga, but your flexibility is like a yogi.
Oh, trust me, when we look at certain programs, yoga does come into play, depending on what we want to try to do. But again, flexibility is going to become a big thing in the future. I really do believe that because we are going to have some challenges in small to medium-sized companies, like you said, with a lack of skilled trade. So if we're not flexible, we're not going to be successful. And it's easier said than done, trust me. But you know what? That's going to be one of our main tests that we work on is we want to be flexible to the customer base because we're going to bring the best value if we can do that.
Can we talk a little bit about what you've devoted or dedicated or worked on to stay flexible, to remain flexible, to become more flexible, whatever it might be? Because you said it, but I agree. It's a buzzword. Everyone says they're doing it, but saying something and being something are two completely different things. What have you guys done to remain that way?
So investment in new equipment, investment in people, and then investment in new facilities. If you've got facilities, you got the equipment, and the people is going to be the most challenging, and we recognize that today. We may be able to get that with just going to find the people, or we're hoping to find the people when we are finding new facilities there. So is there a one single answer that's going to answer that? No, there isn't. We recognize it's not an easy solution today. All we're doing is try to get ahead of that curve as best as we can today.
Yeah, we're going to need a much longer podcast to go over all the details for that. So let's talk about global logistics and local agility. It's a great topic. You're a global platform, but many of your operations are in places like Iowa, for example. How do you reconcile global reach with local responsiveness, especially when a customer has an emergency part or compressed ramp-up schedule?
Well, globalization to years and years ago, we still want to have the domestic sourcing here, which is going to be very, very important, and especially in today's climate that we've got with tariffs that's going on. But we do have a platform of importing business, which is through our Atlas Global side of the business. And that business brings a lot of value to the customers that have that higher volume, because there is a potential cost savings. And even with some of the tariff situations that we're running into, the benefit is still there. So we want to have that opportunity to say, if a part makes sense for us to go get it from overseas, could be China, could be India, but we do not want to lose the footprint that we've got here, being a domestic manufacturer with the opportunity to go overseas if we need to, when it makes logical sense for us.
I'm glad you started that whole thing off with tariffs. Oh, what a headache that's been for so many people.
It has been, but it's one of those things. You just got to work through it and deal with it until it settles down.
It's something our industry is really good at, I think, is just figuring out how to get through it.
I don't think you have much of a choice. You can sit there and moan about it, or you can figure out a resolution and work through it. There's really not a whole lot you can do over something you don't have any control over.
Oof. I'm reading a book right now that has very much that perspective on life. Yeah, very well said. All right, people, process, and precision. Some of my favorite topics is about people. It's one thing to have machines in factories, as you just mentioned. It's another to have people who care about every micron, every shaft, every tooth. How does Vector Companies maintain a culture of craftsmanship in an era of automation and cost pressure? What keeps teams motivated day to day?
As I said earlier, investment into new equipment, investment into the people. And people is going to be the biggest challenge that we have going forward here. And we want to keep our people motivated with really a lot of communication. So one of the things I do that's very key is I don't sit there and tell the people that their job is to run the machines. We sit down on a monthly basis and try to give them input on what the business is doing. Where do we look good? Where do we not look good? Where do we have the challenges? Because we want them to feel like they're part of the team from top to bottom there. And the more and more we have been able to do that, it has really given them the ownership that, hey, my job is not only here to run the machines, my job is to be an enterprise and be part of a bigger equation. So motivating the employees is going to be one of our bigger challenges there, and we're trying to find that with simple things, Tony, as, hey, we'll do monthly luncheons and we'll sit there and talk about the business, we'll talk about the weather, we'll talk about Lions football, whatever it takes there.
Lions football is doing okay right now, aren't they?
Doing pretty damn well, isn't it?
A nice win just last night also. Do you, and I'm pretty sure you're going to say yes, especially because the record button is on, but let's pretend nobody's listening real quick. Do you feel like family? Do you feel that way? And do you feel like a lot of your colleagues just at this company, you feel accepted and motivated to do well?
Absolutely, all the way from top down. We got a wonderful owner, and his philosophy is family first and everything else to take care of itself. And even before we became part of Vector Companies, we follow the same philosophy at Atlas and Atlas Global. Every morning, it's not, hey, how's the machines running? Our first question is, how's the family doing? How are the kids doing? So yes, we absolutely preach the family value of it, because I firmly believe, Tony, if you're going to spend time somewhere for 10 hours a day, if you're happy to be there and you're treated well, you're going to be a happy employee.
We should focus on that more, and I'm really happy you said that.
Much, much more than we do.
We spend a lot of time with our work colleagues, don't we?
100%.
Some of them have even followed you here, 100%. Standing behind the cameras right now. They got a little bit of smile, though. I think they might be happy to be here. They're judging the crap out of us right now, aren't they? Oh, man, I hope we get this right.
We won't mess it up.
All right, let's move on to future trends and partnerships, can we? So looking ahead, what manufacturing trend keeps you awake? Does any trend keep you awake at night? Does any trend or excites you the most? Is it advanced materials, electrification, sustainability, digital twins, additive plus subtract? I mean, we could go on and on about that, but what does the future look like?
It's really the technology and the way we manufacture our parts there. I think that's going to be the big thing for us. As I mentioned to you, is we are in low volume and high volume. So there's really going to be technology that's been around for 50 years that works really, really good for us. So we're excited that we've got these machines that are 50 years old, 60 years old, that we can still manufacture great, great components from. Now, there's going to be the other side of it is that from a machine standpoint, you want to get machines that are much more better from a technology standpoint, because we are going to continue to have challenges with being able to find people that can run these machines. So the more technology you add into it, it's only going to help us going into the future.
Yeah. Can you, as we start to close this thing out, B2, and I've gone through the questions that your amazing marketing team wanted us to go through. Yeah, they're flexing. They're flexing over there, happy about it. Can you share a personal story of working with a customer that kind of stands out? Something, if you could pull on my heartstrings a little bit, because this industry matters. It makes everything around us. I'd love to hear a personal story from you.
I'll share two. We have a customer, a brand new customer that came to us about 6 months ago. So they were doing gear cutting in-house, and their machine, the same machine, 50 years old, all of a sudden stopped working. And we got a panic call, and their customer is all over them not getting parts. Within 2 weeks, Tony, we were able to turn parts around for them to get them out of a jam. And now we are slowly just getting them back up to production mode within about a 4 to 5 month period, to a point where you feel very, very comfortable that they may not even replace the machine that they've got down there, and we will develop a partnership for them to be utilizing Vector companies for future needs there.
As a manufacturer?
As a manufacturer.
That's incredible.
Absolutely.
You said you had two stories.
The second one is we did get a call from a company very local. Machine went down. Based on that machine, their whole line is up and running. We get parts, no prints, gears that are beat up. Within a week and a half, we were able to reverse engineer those gears, get those two gears back into them, and get that machine up and running, where we were so proud of the story that we got and the email communication back that we got from the customer of how glad they were that they found us. I did send that to our sales and marketing folks to make sure that we put that out there from a marketing standpoint also.
I am sure that they did. They're brilliant.
Absolutely.
And I'm not just saying that because they can hear me. I like those guys. They're all right.
They're pretty good guys.
If you had one message that you could share with people out there who don't know who you are, and I imagine there's not a whole lot out there that don't know who you are based on what you guys do, but if there was a message you wanted to share to let people know, in summary, this is what we do, this is how we can help, this is why you should call us, what message would that be?
There's one main one there. We are going to be open to any help that the customers need and opportunities that they need. One of the things we do pride ourselves on, Tony, we don't shy away from telling them that this is not within our capabilities, or no, we can't make the commitment that you're looking for, because the last thing we want to do is make false promises out there. But the other beauty of it is that we are not a one-stop shop. With the different facilities we have, the different capabilities we have now, if we can't make it work in one location, we will try to make it work in another location. If at the same time, if we can't, we have no issues telling them that also at the same time. And I think that's a long way relationship that we want to develop with our customer base, is that we want to be truthful, honest with them, and commit to what we know we can deliver to them.
Wow. It's almost like you knew that question was coming.
I kind of did, yes.
Wow. But now I'm also singing in my head, promises, promises.
Absolutely, and we try to hold every promise we make.
Awesome. Well, my friend, thank you so much for being here.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, you are a superstar. When you walk away from talking with B2, what resonates isn't just the machines, the shafts or gears, or even the technical spec sheets. It's the promise of continuity. The promise that when one piece moves, everything else follows. It's less about turning parts and more about enabling industries to move. From motors to motorsports, wind to water, manufacturing to machines, Vector Companies plays a behind-the-scenes role in motion. And that's pretty remarkable. Thanks for tuning in, and thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me, Tony. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you for listening. If you want to find out more about what's happening in the world of manufacturing and engineering, visit mtdcnc.com.